Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about the Annihilation crossover, a fantastic story that kickstarted a very interesting era of cosmic Marvel, which had died out in the mid-90s, and it made this fantastic comeback. Now, I do have to say that even though this story takes place in outer space and we have fantastical characters with insane powers, oddly enough, it feels like a very grounded war story, very well told. You feel that the stakes are very high, that Annihilus and his forces are pretty much unstoppable. We have Nova, who is the main general on the good guys' side, dealing with the fact that all of the Nova Corps were destroyed by the Annihilation wave. He is the last lone survivor, and now he finds himself in this position of being the leader of the Resistance, having to deal with the fact that many of the factions that are on his side really hate each other, and there's a lot of conflict amongst them, especially between the Krees and the Skrulls. And to add on top of this, we have this power struggle within the Kree Empire that's going to put into question their alliance with the good guys. So now we have the story that starts off. We have our heroes in the trenches trying to stop the Annihilation wave. It is really interesting to see in this story a very different version of Star-Lord. In the second big cosmic crossover that comes out after this one, Annihilation Conquest, we're going to get the evolution of Star-Lord to the Star-Lord that we know today. This Star-Lord is not cracking any jokes, and he's the right-hand man to Nova. We have Drax being a total badass, mowing down Annihilus's forces. But it's just not enough because there are way too many. So now we have to talk about Thanos, who has aligned himself with Annihilus. He seems to be curious to see how things turn out and take everything as a learning experience. And during this time, he had this like space pixie or space sprite always hanging out with him that I found to be pretty insufferable. I can't remember her name, but thankfully after the story, she's never seen again. She's like a holdover from the Thanos series. Annihilus has also captured Galactus and weaponized him. Galen Hafta has become basically the space cannon of the Death Star. So let's go back to Thanos. So he is doing his thing. He's scheming. He's doing his Mr. Sinister impersonation here. One of the first things that he does, he kidnaps Moonstone. He has a brief battle with Phyla-Vell. He's pretty brutal. He rips off Moonstone's ear. He sends it in a box to Drax, tells him, stay out of this conflict, leave me alone, I have your daughter. But with Drax, he really doesn't care about this whole situation. All he wants to do is kill Thanos. He's pretty much unstoppable. So this whole hostage situation sort of backfires on Thanos, but we're going to see that further down the line. So now what happens is we have our heroes, they're regrouping the forces at one of their bases when Ravenous, who is like the main general to Annihilus, arrives with his forces, which he pretty much destroys Nova's forces. Everyone's put on the run. When the Galactus cannon arrives, he destroys the whole planet where they were on. It's super cool to see characters that had been already defeated by the Annihilation wave were captured by Annihilus, and they fill up their bodies with bugs, and the bugs are controlling their bodies. It's very gruesome. We have Terrax fighting for Ravenous forces, and Terrax is just begging for someone to kill him. He can't deal with the pain of having these bugs walking under his skin. We get so many badass moments with Drax at this moment, and you get that iconic image of him jumping into the Annihilation wave all alone. The thing is, he's able to hitch a ride onto one of Annihilus's ship and get on board the ship where Thanos is operating off, while the rest of our heroes are dispersed across the cosmos after this pretty crushing defeat. So we discover that Thanos actually had kidnapped Moonstone to get into Annihilus's mind because he wants to know what's his endgame. So pretty forcibly, Thanos is able to convince Moondragon to get into Annihilus's mind. And basically she discovers that Annihilus just wants to finish off with all life in the cosmos. It's not established in the story, but it's established in Annihilus's mythos that he's very paranoid. He thinks that everything is a threat to him, so basically he's always been hell-bent on killing everything just to protect himself. Thanos is like, okay, I learned enough. I got to capture Galactus. I was able to study him. Now I know the nature of the power cosmic, so on and so forth. And it's pretty funny because there's a moment between Annihilus and Thanos where Annihilus tells Thanos, just kill Galactus. We don't need him anymore. And Thanos is like, why the hell would you do that? Like, you have this ultimate weapon. You can destroy many more planets, destroy all your enemies. And Annihilus is like, no, I want him dead. He has this very short-term way of viewing everything. He needs everything done now. It's pretty interesting to see that he doesn't have any long-term goals. Also, as the story progresses, we discover that Ravenous, who seems to be more of a thinking man, has cracked a deal with the Cream. He has been able to get them out of the conflict and position himself politically within their structure. So this will lead to Ronan the Accuser having to team up with Super Skrull to take down Ravenous. But what I really love about this moment of the story is that even though Super Skrull and Ronan really hate each other, and it's very apparent, you see this progressive evolution of how they start respecting each other, even though they don't say it, and both are very impressed on how each one is very brutal to their enemies. We also get this great moment where Ronan the Accuser tries to rescue the Supreme Intelligence, and he discovers that it has been lobotomized. So basically with this revelation, he realizes that he's screwed and that he has to be the leader of the Kree people. At least for Ronan, he doesn't consider himself ready for this task. Then the story cuts back to Thanos, who realizes that he has to set Galactus free. And right when he's about to do this, Drax the Destroyer bursts onto the scene. Moondragon actually begs with her father to stop, not to kill Thanos. And we get this really epic moment where Drax goes full-on Mortal Kombat on Thanos, rips his heart out. But Galactus is able to escape anyways. He starts obliterating Annihilus' forces. And at the end of the story, we get this ultimate showdown between Nova and Annihilus. It's freaking awesome. Now, if you think what Drax did to Thanos was brutal, how Nova is able to defeat Annihilus is freaking brutal and really disgusting. Also, before Annihilus was killed by Nova, he was using Quasar's quantum bands. I had forgot to mention that during this time, Annihilus had Quasar's quantum bands. He had killed him before this crossover in the Nova miniseries that was part of the build-up. And what happened during the battle is that the quantum bands chose a new host and they latch on to Phyla-Vell. So she's going to become the next protector of the universe, the next Quasar, but very briefly, she actually gets killed off in the Guardians of the Galaxy series. So I talked too much about this crossover today. I hope you guys liked this video. See you guys next time. Bye.